Hey now, welcome to Lone Star Mini Restoration episode 35. Cheers. Real quick, because I had a question recently of Lone Star Mini. Why Lone Star Mini? So before I get to my episode is really going to be about fitting the outer sill and the components that go between the outer sill and the inner sill. But really quick, I had a question that said, why Lone Star Mini? What basically, I'm in Texas, and in a really short cap, back in 1800s, when the people of Texas, the Texas country right now, the country, listen to me, that's right, we are our own country, but the territories of Texas were actually in Mexico. In the day, Mexico had a two-star flag. The people of this area wanted to be an independent nation, and they fought for their rights. And in fact, 1836, they became the independent Republic of Texas. Now, how did Texas get its name? Texas got its name through a Caddo, Native American Caddo language. The Caddo people basically they were given the name of Tasha, means friend or ally. And so Tasha somehow, I don't know the details, but the word Tasha, the Caddo Tasha, converted over to the word Texas. And then when Texas they actually won their independence in 1836, as I've mentioned. And then because they wanted to be an independent state, they wanted to be the Lone Star. And if you look back through, if you're here in Texas, there's all kinds of history about, one of the flags you might see is a cannon, and it basically says "come and get it," and it had one star on it. It's always been a one-star Lone Star. And so then when we became a state of the United States, that's when the flag as we know it today began to develop, and we became the Lone Star State. So that's where Lone Star, and because I'm in Texas, Lone Star Mini, that's me. So there you go, there you have it. So cheers to you for asking the question, and now if anybody sees this video, now they'll know why Lone Star Mini, and they'll know why Lone Star State. Alright, let's crack on to the Mini. Okay, so real quick, I still have a little bit more. I laugh because there's so many of the great YouTubers out there, like Keith Miller and a lot of those guys. I mean, and Dave Jag, of course. They will put this entire floor together in like one episode, where it's going to take me 12. But I've got to figure everything out. So this episode, I am just going to talk about. I have the floor. My last episode, I pretty much located the floor where it needs to be. Done. Check. So now I've got all these little components. So there are 4 components that go between the floor inner sill and then the floor outer sill. And I'm going to basically show you, I'll bring the camera in a little bit closer and show you how I believe they go together. It's kind of like a puzzle. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm all ears. But, so let's see. First of all, brackets. This guy right here. This little puppy is a rear slinger bracket. One. This puppy right here, a little bit bigger. This is a forward, but it's also called a slinger bracket. Now, I'm guessing here, and I would love to know, like slinger. That doesn't tell me anything. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to take a guess. And I'm going to say, because I've seen some wonderful friends have sent me quite a few videos of how these cars are put together in the old manufacturing shops, right? So, slinger bracket? What the heck does that mean? Do I really need this on my car? Probably not. But I'm putting it back on because that's kind of the spec. But I have a feeling that this was a slinger. Maybe it's called a slinger because when this thing's in here, it basically gives you 2 points to pick the shell up. From the bottom. 2 points on this side, 2 points on that side, and they can kind of pick the shell up and move it around. So maybe it was on chains, I don't know, slinging it around the manufacturing shop floor. I don't know. That's just who knows. Okay, third, got this bracket. This bracket is basically the jacking point, as well as a stiffener, I guess, if you will. I don't ever plan on using it, but it's there. And then this guy, I've already taped it on, but this guy here is the seatbelt plate where you tie the seatbelt in. So all these go between the outer sill and the inner sill. So now let me bring the camera in closer so you can see where I believe they go. Right off the bat, this is the rear slinger bracket. So I believe this angle right here, in one of my earlier episodes, I showed the assembly of this, and I showed how this angle matches this angle on the floor panel. And I want to say it's going to go somewhere in here, right? So for now, I'm just going to tape this sucker in. Just so I have a point. All right, so the plate with the seat belt bolt or nut that's welded onto this plate, it essentially there's a hole in this inner sill, and I think this is a no-brainer. This basically has to line up, you know, something to that effect. Of course, I'll get a better. I'm not attaching anything now. I'm just kind of locating it for demonstration purposes. So there's that one. All right, moving on to the jacking point. This guy, yeah, I don't know. I got to figure it out. All right, I think because of this angle right here, I think this is the angle that has to match the floorboard. So it's going to go in something like that. Location, I imagine it's relatively close to the crossbeam, but for now, and my crossbeam's right here, so we're in the ballpark. I'm just going to tape that in, kind of, sorta. So that's how that sucker goes. Now the forward slinger bracket, same type of deal. It's a little bit bigger, but this angle here has to match the angle on the floor panel. So it's going to go somewhere in here. Something like that. Alright, so there's the 4 brackets. Now let me zoom back out a little bit. So now what closes those off is the outer sill. This is the outer sill panel. And I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to make an assumption that this is the rear part of the sill. I'm going to make the assumption that this basically goes flush up against the heelboard web, the web of the heelboard. And I would imagine that this hole right here matches the rear slinger, or the slinger should be located so that it matches that. And likewise, well, there you go. There's the shape. There's the shape that's in the here. Basically, that shape right there would match that shape right there. So this, the location of the outer sill will basically tell me where this jacking point, and likewise, maybe this hole here tells me where the forward slinger bracket needs to go. Alright, so again, I think I assume that this edge right here goes flush up against the web of the heelboard. And this hole here, I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe that's just for a plug weld or something onto the heelboard. But I'm going to say that it goes in something like that. Actually, it looks like a pretty good fit. Yeah, that's showing it that. And then this lays flush. This flange here lays flush on the doorstep flange. All right, so my bracket inside is off. So that tells me this bracket that I have needs to slide that way to line up with this hole. And I'm going to do all that real quick, actually. Okay, so on this one, basically I moved the rear slinger bracket until it was completely flush with that flange on the heel board, and well, it's still not lining up. So either that tells me that that flange that comes out this way, here, let me take this off. So yeah, that tells me that this flange on the heel board is too long. So it probably had to be trimmed, and this bad boy needs to go about 10 millimeters that way. I don't believe that I put this flange on top of that flange. No, I wouldn't think that that would be true. I still have all this crap right here that I can't put the outer sill flush with this flange because of all this crap. I need to cut it all off or whatever, and then I can lay the outer sill down on top. Um, but yeah, so I mean that's kind of the way it's going to go. And I'm not sure of my next move. If I think I am going to order either an M machine panel or Heritage, probably Heritage because I can get hold of mini spares a heck of a lot easier than I can get hold of M machine. Um, and yeah, I guess that's about it for this episode. Um, to Ed with Classic Mini Shorts, I took your dimensions that you gave me on a previous post, and I ran them all right, and they all pretty much match. I mean, they're a couple 1 or 2 millimeters off, but certainly that's understandable between your mini and my mini. But for the most part, it was right on the ballpark. Um, so I don't know what I'm gonna do next, y'all. I'll start. I'll get going, and yeah. Anyhow, thanks for watching Lone Star Mini Restoration. Bye just now.